When I arrived at my friend's house, my heart stopped. My fiancé, Jason, was there, but he wasn't alone. The scene unfolding before my eyes was too clear to deny. Jason was cheating on me, and not with just anyone, but with one of my best friends. My name is Barbara, and I'm here to tell you my story. Pain was unbearable, like the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. I was 2 days away from marrying the man I believed to be the love of my life, and he had destroyed everything. Jason's excuses were vague, and he tried to downplay what had happened, but I knew nothing could erase what I had seen. I left that house with a broken heart, feeling betrayed and humiliated. The idea of going through with the wedding was unthinkable, but I didn't know what to do next. I returned home, where my parents and relatives were busy with the preparations, excited about the wedding that was just 2 days away. I didn't have the courage to tell the truth right away. Pressure to keep up appearances, to go through with the plans, was overwhelming. But one thing was certain: I couldn't marry Jason. Amid the confusion and pain, an impulsive idea began to form in my mind. If I couldn't marry Jason, maybe I could marry someone else. Someone completely different, someone who would never make me feel that pain again. That night, after the devastating discovery, I could barely sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the image of Jason and my friend together invaded my thoughts. Pain was unbearable, and I needed to find a way to regain control of my life. As I lay in bed, an idea began to take shape. Something impulsive and filled with vengeance, but that would give me the chance to expose Jason for the traitor he was. What if I married someone else and showed up with my new husband at the wedding, revealing everything to everyone? The next day, with this idea in mind, I left the house determined. I knew I needed something radical to drive Jason away and, at the same time, show everyone what he had done. As I walked through the streets, my thoughts were in turmoil. Then I ran into Ravi, a man I barely knew but who had always treated me with respect. Without thinking much, I approached him. "Ravi, are you single?" I asked bluntly. He seemed surprised by the question but said yes. "What if you married me today?" I continued before adding, "I'll pay you well for it. I want you to show up with me at my wedding with Jason, and then we'll reveal the whole truth." Ravi, still shocked, was silent for a few moments, absorbing what I was asking. After a moment of hesitation, perhaps out of sympathy for my situation or for the financial offer, he agreed. In a few hours, we were at the courthouse, signing the papers. Two strangers, united by an impulsive decision and a plan for revenge. As we slipped the cheap rings onto our fingers, I felt a mix of relief and nervousness. I didn't know how Jason would react, but I was determined to go through with my plan. I had made my decision, and now a new chapter of my life was about to begin. After Ravi agreed to marry me and be part of my revenge plan, I felt a strange sense of power. For the first time since discovering the betrayal, it seemed like I was in control. As we left the courthouse, still processing the fact that we were now officially husband and wife, I began to plan the details of what was to come. I wanted everything to be perfect, for Jason and my friend to feel the full weight of their betrayal exposed in front of everyone. In the following days, Ravi and I prepared for Jason's wedding as if we were preparing for a grand performance. I explained to Ravi how I wanted everything to happen. He would walk in with me, hand in hand, and as soon as all eyes were on us, I would reveal the truth. Ravi, initially skeptical, began to understand the depth of the pain I carried and how much it meant to me. Although he had accepted the offer for money, a bond started to form between us. Meanwhile, Jason and my friend continued their preparations, unaware of what was about to happen. They still didn't know that I had discovered the betrayal, and the anticipation of exposing everything in front of everyone filled me with a strange adrenaline. Ravi and I rehearsed our entrance, trying to maintain seriousness, but there were moments when he made me laugh, something I hadn't done since it all began. I started to notice Ravi's kindness and charm, something that surprised me more and more. But despite these distractions, my focus remained. Revenge was near, and I was ready to face it head-on. The wedding day arrived faster than I had imagined. As I got ready, I felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. Ravi arrived early, impeccably dressed, ready to play his part in the plan. He gave me a reassuring smile, something that helped me stay calm. Though our union was an impulsive act of revenge, Ravi's presence by my side made the moment more bearable. We arrived at the ceremony just before it began. No one suspected anything when we entered, hand in hand. Curious eyes turned toward us, and Jason, seeing me with another man, was stunned and visibly uneasy. He clearly didn't expect me to show up with someone else. My friend, Susan, standing beside him, tried to keep her composure, but the tension in her eyes was obvious. That's when I decided to act. "Jason," I began, my voice firm but filled with emotion. "I thought about how much you cared about this wedding, about our life together. But I was faster than you. I found out everything." Jason tried to intervene, but I continued, not giving him space for excuses. "And now I'm already married. Meet Ravi, my husband," I announced, pausing so everyone could absorb the information. "Your excuses won't work. I hope you and my best friend Susan are very happy together." The silence that followed my words was overwhelming. Jason turned pale, while Susan, visibly shaken, avoided the now condemning stares. Jason stepped forward, perhaps to try to justify the unjustifiable, but before he could say anything, Ravi intervened. "If I were you, I'd keep my distance," Ravi said, with a calmness that concealed the firmness in his voice. "Barbara deserves more than your empty apologies. She deserves someone who treats her with respect." Ravi's words had an immediate effect. Jason hesitated, unable to respond, and stepped back. My heart raced, not because of the confrontation, but because of Ravi's unexpected gesture. That moment, I realized he wasn't just there to fulfill an agreement. He was defending me, standing by my side in a way I never expected. And, for the first time, I felt like I had made the right decision. When we left the church, a sense of freedom washed over me. We walked out hand in hand, and for the first time in days, I felt the weight of the betrayal begin to lift. Ravi's presence by my side, his calmness and strength, made me believe that maybe I could get through this. People around us were in shock, but I didn't care. I had done what needed to be done, and now I was ready to move on. Ravi smiled at me as we walked out of the church. "Are you okay?" he asked, with a softness that surprised me. "I am," I replied, feeling a wave of gratitude toward him. Without Ravi, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did, and because of that, a part of me was beginning to see him in a different light, not just as an ally in my revenge plan, but as someone I could truly trust. But then, as we were leaving, I heard quick footsteps behind us. Jason caught up to us, visibly agitated. His expression was a mix of anger and desperation. "Barbara, you can't just walk away like this," he exclaimed, trying to grab my hand. "This isn't you. It can't end like this." Ravi immediately stepped between us, blocking Jason from reaching me. "You had your chance, Jason. Now leave her alone," Ravi said firmly, but without losing his calm. Jason glared at him, clearly not used to being challenged this way, but Ravi didn't back down. "She deserves someone who truly cares about her, and from what I've seen, that's not you." Jason hesitated, but his determination didn't seem to waver. "This isn't over, Barbara," he muttered before walking away. As Jason walked off, I felt a mix of relief and tension. The way Ravi protected me, how he stood by my side, made my heart race. More and more, I saw in Ravi something I had never seen in Jason: genuineness and strength. And it was beginning to captivate me in an unexpected way. After the confrontation with Jason, Ravi and I left the church together and decided to spend some time away from the chaos and from people who might try to question us. Ravi suggested we go somewhere quiet where we could talk and reflect on everything that had happened. I agreed, feeling that I needed a moment to process the day's events. He took me to a small cafe downtown, a cozy and discreet place where we could relax and talk more calmly. As we sat there, drinking coffee, I began to realize how much Ravi had become important to me in such a short time. He was different from Jason in every way, calm, attentive, and above all, genuine. As we talked, Ravi made me laugh about simple things, something I hadn't done since discovering the betrayal. With each passing moment, I felt more comfortable by his side, as if the weight of the pain I carried was starting to fade. "You're really special, Ravi," I said, looking at him with a sincerity that surprised me. I don't know where I'd be right now if you hadn't agreed to help me. Ravi smiled, but there was a seriousness in his eyes. Barbara, you're a strong person. I just did what any decent person would do. And besides, I think there's something in you worth defending, something beyond what happened today. His words touched me deeply, and I realized that my heart was beginning to open up to the possibility of a new feeling. Maybe what started as a revenge plan could turn into something much more meaningful. In the days that followed, Ravi and I spent more time together. Initially, it felt like we were just fulfilling the final part of our agreement, keeping up appearances while I made it clear to Jason and everyone involved that I had moved on. However, the more time I spent with Ravi, the more I realized that something deep inside me was changing. One afternoon, Ravi invited me for a walk in a city park. The place was beautiful, with old trees and paths that wound through well-kept gardens. We walked side by side, talking about simple things from our personal likes to childhood stories. The way he spoke, with an honesty and lightness that captivated me, made me see how different he was from Jason. Ravi didn't try to impress. He simply was who he was, and that attracted me in a way I didn't expect. At one point, we stopped at a bench under the shade of a large tree. There was a tranquility there that made me feel safe. Ravi turned to me, his eyes reflecting the soft light of the late afternoon. Barbara, I know we started all of this in an unexpected way, but I'm glad we met. You're stronger than you think, and I admire that in you. His words, so sincere, made my heart race. I looked at him, realizing that what was growing between us was more than just friendship or companionship. I was falling in love with Ravi, and it was both scary and wonderful. As the sun set, we sat in silence for a while, just enjoying each other's company. The weight of past events seemed more distant with each passing moment, and for the first time I began to believe that there could be a future for me that didn't involve pain or betrayal, but instead love and respect, something I had never really experienced before. After everything we had been through, it was time to leave the past behind once and for all. We decided to make our relationship official, this time not out of revenge, but out of love. The wedding was simple, surrounded by the few people who truly mattered to us. There was no need for grandeur because what we had was stronger than any ceremony could symbolize. On that day, standing beside Ravi, I felt a peace I hadn't known in a long time. The cycle of pain and betrayal was over, and a new chapter was beginning. As we exchanged vows, I knew I was entering a new phase of life, one that I had chosen with someone who truly loved and respected me. Ravi and I had started as strangers in an impulsive plan, but now we were true partners, ready to face whatever came next, together. Dear viewers, I really want to know what you think of our stories. Please leave a comment with your opinions and suggestions. Oh, and if you liked the video, like it and subscribe to the channel.